Like we always had parties, right? Me as a youngster, I would be like sneaking with my cousins, drinking.
10 years old?
Yeah. Back then, I don't know if, your parents or like my grandfather was always like giving the little kids, yeah, drink this.
Yeah, try sample.
Grandma was always cooking food on the table. Would always have food on the table, the point where everybody eat, cooking food from the catch that my grandfather would catch because he was a fisherman and hunter. There's a ceiling to every company that you work for. So if you don't create on side hustle or some type of multiple streams of income, which like the rich people do, right? They find other ways to make money while they sleep. It's going to be harder for you to make ends meet here in Hawaii. If you're stuck in the mindset like, bro, there's no way I can, then yeah. That's true. Yeah. Because you think that way. But when you hang around people that's actually doing it and is successful in something that you see going on social media or you hear about, dude, it's happening for me and my family. I created generational wealth.
Velina Mai Kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by being grown and not flown here. I'm your host Kamaka, and I am just trying to figure out how to afford living here and avoid being flown away from these beautiful islands. And I think our guest today might be able to help me with that. But before we introduce him, I just want to say a big Happy New Year to everyone. This is going to be an incredible year, and I can't wait to continue bringing you all great episodes. As you all know, this is an independently run podcast, and we rely on our supporters and sponsors to keep us going. So if you love this podcast, please consider heading over to Patreon at patreon.com/kamakadias if you want to support us for as little as $3 a month. Shout out to DM at Liribu Collective for signing up for the $50 a month Ho'opili tier. You are amazing, and I am so grateful for your support. If supporting us with money is not an option for you, but you still love this podcast, please consider leaving us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. I read every single review, and to prove it, let me share this heartfelt review from KLAISDJNFN. I don't even know if that's a real name or just a bunch of letters combined. This person says, from a Kanaka named Kamaka. From one Kanaka named Kamaka to another, this podcast means the world to me. I'm native Hawaiian and Tongan, but born and raised on the continent. For a long time, I rejected my Polynesian heritage, but in the later years have had so much healing in getting in touch with the culture and learning languages. Thank you for having a show that allows me to listen to Pali people so connected to their roots that it gives me a better chance to reconnect to mine. Listening to your show makes me proud to be Hawaiian. Also, the PCC episode brought a tear to my eye when they talked about the good-looking young men who came to build it, because one of those good-looking young men was my Tongan grandfather. Wow. Mahalo, Kamaka, for sharing that. And you have an amazing name. So beautiful. All right, let's introduce our guest. Support for this podcast comes from Texaco in Hawaii, which features 58 convenient locations across the state. Fueling up at Texaco is fast and easy when you use the Texaco mobile app to pay at the pump. The Texaco mobile app is a contactless way to pay for fuel so you can get in and out of the gas station quickly. Fuel your car and fuel yourself. Pick up your favorite local snacks and ice cold drinks at your neighborhood Texaco today. Texaco at Techron, driving performance. Our guest today is a real estate developer and investor from the island of Oahu. This former pro surfer turned real estate extraordinaire has over 20 years of experience in real estate investing, business, and development. As a content creator, he is now sharing his wisdom with our community to build awareness around many facets of real estate. Today, he is mentoring Kama'aina on how to strategically buy back our land, create affordable housing for our people, and inspire a generation to follow. I am so stoked he is here today for our first guest of 2024. His name is Fuzzy Jardine. Hello, Fuzzy. How's it going?
Yes,
Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast.
Man, I appreciate you even reaching out. I'm super honored and blessed to be on this show, and awesome to meet you. And hey, bro, let's talk story.
Hey, let's talk story. We got two Portuguese here. let's go for at least 5 hours, so Jordan has a lot to edit. As Jordan shakes his head off to the side of the podcast.
Ready to talk? Yep, I'm ready to talk. Yep. Let's go.
So we're gonna have a great year. 2024 is off to a good start for me. I just got my cold plunge in. I'm feeling good. You know, I'm all about that sauna cold plunge life. I don't know if you ever got into like
I
the biohacking stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about it. A lot of my friends are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even my partner Zasha Smith and her dad, I'm sorry, her husband is
Mm-hmm.
doing it now. So they bought the cold plunge
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
also doing the sauna. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try it this
Yeah.
year.
So after you sell a couple more houses, just buy one at your house. Yeah, but it's super good to talk stories with you. We met briefly one or two times before this. And I just love what you're doing for the community and trying to educate people online because it's so needed because you know financial literacy and especially housing it's such a big issue here. It's not something we're really taught in school.
Oh,
So it's something you have to kind of go off on your own to learn. And it's kind of daunting. It's intimidating. Even for me, you know, being born and raised here, I never really thought like how I would end up staying here. Like I always knew like, oh, I'm gonna live in Hawaii. I'm gonna settle down in Hawaii. But I didn't really think of like the logistics of it. Like, wow, it is really expensive to live here. And you have all these other expenses from, you know, car payments to rent and then like your daily, weekly things like grocery shopping and everything just starts to add up. So you've been on this journey of educating people on how to buy back our land and afford to live in Hawaii so that people can be grown and not flown here.
right.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about, but before we get into any of that, I want to start at the beginning and just get to know you and where you're from. So, where are you from? What was it like growing up? I'm sorry. Oh, first episode of the year, I forgot my own questions. Where you grad? Oh my gosh! Wait. Well, oh my gosh!
Who you are? Where you from?
What is it? I think it's where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up? Ooh, okay, rough start to 2024.
Okay, where I from? First question.
I just came back from vacation, so you know my brain's not
Well,
all there yet.
deserve it, but hey,
Yeah.
thank you for the sponsors.
Yeah.
Let me quench my throat so that we can start talking. Yeah, I'm born and raised here on Oahu. I come from a little town called Waimanalo. We call it God's country because when you come over to Pali, you know, on the east side is just super beautiful. I'm not saying on the other side of the islands is beautiful, but you know, I'm biased. I grew up there, so that's where I'm from. I grew up there, so Waimanalo boy.
Yeah, Nalo boys.
Yes, sir. And you know, there's a lot of locals that's from there. We have like two stoplights going through the town.
Yeah.
So pretty much, you know, with that, everyone knows each other. And yeah, I mean, nowadays the prices in Waimanalo is crazy, but we'll get into that later. And then for me, Manuela boy, right? I grew up with my mom. She was I think she was like 16 years old when she had me.
Wow.
And she was going through you know, high school. So my grandparents, her parents, really they hanai'd me, and my grandparents was from the Big Island. So grandpa was Portuguese man, grandma was Hawaiian, grandpa was from Ka'u, grandma is from Kona. So what happened was they moved back to the Big Island, and then my mom moved to Kailua. But because I'm a spoiled, you know, the youngest, spoiled Hanai child going to my grandparents, I followed them when they moved to the Big Island. And we went to Hawaiian Acres.
Mm-hmm.
And we call it like Lost in the Woods. where my grandfather chose was just like, if you go to Hawaiian Acres, it's this big subdivision that there's thousands of properties, and he picked like almost right dead center with no electric or telephone. So
Oh wow.
And then what is the second question? What school I went
And then
to?
yeah, where you grad?
Yeah, Manuela boy again. I went to all kinds of schools, but I ended up graduating at Kailua High School.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were telling me off the podcast you attended Kaiser for a little bit because I ended up graduating from
Right,
Kaiser, so we
yeah,
got that
so-
connection.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to get district exception because my mom worked in Hawaii Kai,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Kaiser High School for like maybe a couple months. Got to, you know, make friends there, but then I quickly got into trouble because I was always at Sandy Beach, and I had to go move. I moved to the Big Island to go with my grandparents, and that's where I went to Waikea High School, right? So
Yeah. So you also grew up in the water a lot, huh?
yeah,
And you
yeah,
said you were at Sandy's a lot. That's why you weren't at school.
yeah. Hung around with the, I was, you think, in crowd, right? The
Yeah.
the party crew, but my passion was I always wanted to. My dad was never in my life, but he was a surfer as well. So I guess I had that passion, thinking, oh man, if my dad's a surfer, like shoot, I want to be a surfer too. So, but I give props to my mom for pushing me into my first waves in Waimanalo Beach Park, and after that it was just never turning back. I grew gills then. So to tell you a story like how passionate I was as a waterman as a youngster when I got involved with bodyboarding, and the reason why bodyboarding was in back then because surfboards were expensive, so we could afford a bodyboard back then. So anyway, long story short, on the Big Island, I lived so far into the woods. My cousins and I, how passionate I was about this sport. We would hitchhike to go to like Pohiki or to Kawa, right, Punalu Beach, or to different spots on the Big Island, just so that we could go surfing, or bodyboarding.
What a dedication.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the Big Island, those are kind of far places.
Yeah, so we'd catch a couple rides to get to the beach. We'd hang out all day. Of course, we'd pack lunch, and then either my cousin's mom would pick us up, or we would hitchhike back. So
dang. So after graduating from Kailua, right? What did you end up doing?
So, during high school, I was kind of like getting involved with drugs and alcohol was like from a young age. So at like 10 years old, I was already. My grandfather was an alcoholic, so like we always had parties, right? And they had Primo beer. So me as a youngster, I would be like sneaking with my cousins,
At
drinking.
10 years old?
Yeah, or I was drinking younger, but back then I don't know if your parents or like my grandfather was always like giving the little kids, yeah, drink this.
Yeah, try sample. Yeah.
And and that's kind of what I grew up seeing, right? But the thing what I seen was grandma was always cooking food on the table. Would always have food on the table. Poi, the poi where everybody eat, and then cooking food from the catch that my grandfather would catch because he was a fisherman and hunter. So a lot of times we ate food from what he caught growing up over there, and so yeah, it's pretty crazy, the upbringing, humble upbringing that I had. So,
but people with that kind of upbringing, I trust more than people with easy lives.
Yeah,
I feel like it really builds your character and it gives you a purpose in life to want to be better, and you know what it's like at the bottom, so you don't want to go back there. So you're super motivated to create a better life, not only for yourself but for others.
Yeah, and I think you respect life even more, or you can go anywhere and know that you can survive, and thrive, even without this social media thing. Like it was never heard back then, right? Never even have cell phones.
Yeah.
We didn't even have telephone. I think I was like maybe 9 or 10 is when we started getting the telephone on our street, and it was Party Line. So I don't know if you ever heard of Party Line, where the whole street is connected to one line and it's not private. So every time we pick up the phone, we could hear our neighbors talking. That's how old I am now.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So yeah, the Party Line. I know people that's around my age or older, the baby boomers, know about Party Line.
I remember growing up because I grew up in the era of home phones, and you could hear other people talking, but it was on the home phone. Yes. So it was like that, but like for the whole community.
So that's what the Party Line was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that whole street, we pick up the phone. Sometimes you hear your neighbor talking, they'd be like, "Oh, press mute and listen." Listen to what.
That's how eavesdropping was created. All the LA people in Hawaii.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that. But my family, some of my family members were, into, smoking pakalolo. And then when I moved back to Oahu, I got into the in crowd, which, the surfing crew, like everybody parties, right? And I just met a couple friends that, got into the hard stuff, like, doing cocaine and crack and, lacing the tubes, and that's kind of like, oh my God, this is killer, like having fun. And then it just, the drugs kind of took over my life. And then I was doing good in the, bodyboarding community, competing, winning, going to nationals, getting sponsored and all that stuff. But then the drugs started, catching up on me, right? I became an addict and, you know, went even as far as stealing my mom's debit card and taking all her money out
Wow.
from her bank account. And, that's how crazy this, the addiction is, right? And, she approached me that one day, like, so you took my card. I was like, no, lying, right? And then, she told me the bank has videos, of someone taking money out of the ATM. And then, at that time, I was like, wow, I had to fess up and like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I felt um, that was kind of at my lowest point then. And I said, you know what, Mom, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this drug that I cannot kick. And what happened was I went, we got admitted me to Bobby Benson on the North Shore in Kahuku. So I went through a drug treatment program. And, that was like my first one, right? Going to drug treatment program. And yeah, kind of stopped doing all of that stuff. I stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped smoking pakalolo, stopped drinking. And then, went back to school, like, because I was in high school. And then I kind of got my act together. And then, yeah, I graduated high school from Kolaiah High School. And then life was good. I got a scholarship for KCC, Pilani Community College, to go to the culinary arts program. And, because the counselor told me, yeah, you like cooking. And I did back then. And I guess they said that's the field you can
Mm-hmm.
go into, right? Because
Yeah. And KCC has a good culinary art program.
they do. And the reason why I was going into that field is because, I was working as a line cook, for Yum Yum Tree. I don't know if you guys remember Yum Yum Tree. It's an older restaurant that was in Kailua, and I was a line cook. And during like high school, I had, side jobs. And long story short, shoot, I started hanging out with the wrong crowd
Mm-hmm.
again. And I was looking for somewhere to go or someone to look up to. And my cousin he's a police officer. He told me, probably you should just join the military. So to get away from all the drugs and stuff, the recruiter came and, signed me up. I went to, in 97, 96, 97 is when I signed up with the Army.
Oh,
Army Reserves.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, crazy,
I
right?
didn't find that online.
So I joined, I did the reserves, right? Army Reserves, signed up. The only job that I could, or the testing, right? Because I'm, not as akamai, right? I'm street akamai, but
Mm-hmm.
books is not my thing. I ended up becoming a heavy equipment repair for the Army Reserves and ended up like right down here, like Fort Shafter when I came back. So, but man, like the military again, authority, like me, I didn't get along with authority.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I was just wasn't my thing. And I was still searching. And yeah, I just got back involved with, the wrong crowd again. And, started going into like the crazier drug, which was crystal meth. And then, started using that. And just my life just started spiraling back down again. But during all this time, I was always, going to like the ocean is like my safe haven or like my Zen place. And, I ended up going down the wrong path again and then meeting up with the wrong people. And because I'm good at networking and I know a lot of people, family members and stuff, I ended up, getting arrested through the feds because of drugs. And I spent some time away. And I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me, Kamaka.
Really?
Changed my whole my life. It turned me into who I am today. And since I've been home, I came home in '07. My life has been the best ever. It's been, because I live now. I live a sober life, and I'm all about now spreading the Aloha spirit that my grandparents shared with me by teaching others here in Hawaii, financial education or learning things that they can stay right here in Hawaii and be an inspiration, of course, because coming out from the whole, right, we call them the puka, right, prison, and coming from there with no money in your pocket, starting from scratch, is daunting. There's a lot of fear, what you can do. Like the first thing a lot of guys come out, they go right back into that field, and 65-70% of guys that come out, they go right back in. So I'm proud to say I'm a success story coming from where I grew up and where I'm at today to inspire others that went down the same or going down the same path that I did, or in that path right now.
Yeah.
That, they can change. So I'm that inspiration guy, right?
Wow. And that recidivism rate, is that like going back and doing the same exact crime, or just going back to prison in general?
Yeah, I mean, like once you go down like that, the money is good, right? And like gotta work, right? You just get this stuff, you sell them for this much, you make money, or you can.
It's like what you could make in like a month of work.
In a day's time, you make thousands of dollars. A week's time, you make you make good money as someone that's selling drugs. And when I got locked up, I realized what I was doing, and that realizing all these family members that you see all messed up, stealing people's stuff, hurting people. And I was like, wow, I was part of that. Like I was the one like supplying, and I realized that what I was doing was wrong. I used to say, shoot, if it's not from me, it's gonna be from somebody else. They're gonna buy them from, right?
It might as well be me.
Yeah. So and that was my mindset, my mentality, and just I chose to I was the one who chose that lifestyle. The circumstances of where I grew up. I cannot blame my grandparents or my uncles, my the friends that I had, because they never make me do what I did, right? I chose that. So the mindset change when I was inside was just crazy, because I had a lot of time to think of where I was gonna go when I came home, because the connections in there is even better than when you're out here. Because when you're in there, there's like people from the cartel from Mexico and Colombia and all where these drug sources come from. And that's one battle I had to deal with when I came home. Right. And then when I came home, another battle was trying to get a job when they know you coming out of prison is tough to get a job. So my first job I wanted to do was go, because I could sell stuff, right? I was thinking, hey, you know what, car salesman, right? They make good money.
That's smart.
So I excuse me. So as a car salesman, you can make 100, 200 grand just depending on where you sell, who you sell cars to. I mean, so when I came home, my first job was trying to I went to Surfco and I went to Kaneohe because they had Toyota and then Nissan. I hit all those big companies and yeah, gong, gong. Nope. Like, dude, that would be the best salesman. Like, I could sell the shirt radio to you. Like, wow, you have a record. So, it was a humbling experience to come home and go, like, again, like I've never, like I did apply before when I was a teenager going through school to apply for all the jobs that I worked at, but to redo that again, start from scratch was
as an adult,
right.
Yeah.
And getting denied, right, to work. And yeah, I was, getting depressed again, and my mind started thinking, man, like, should I or shouldn't I go back? Because I know how easy the money is. But I was blessed to have some guys that was locked up with had a window cleaning company, and that's where they hired me at like $9 an hour. So coming out, I had $0. I was at the halfway house, and then my parents was, when I got out of the halfway house, I went to live with my parents for the meantime. And then I started window cleaning at $9, worked my way up to a manager. Then I worked for Uncle Tony and Auntie Tammy at Feet Surf School.
Oh, no way.
As a surfing instructor. They took me in. Yeah, they knew my father, my dad. And then so like the surf industry, right? And was a blessing to work with them. Met a lot of people. And then I also was a valet driver.
Wow.
So I had 3 jobs. I was building my credit back. I was able to move out, rent an apartment with someone else, and I was stacking money to purchase my own home. And so this is around, I came home to 2007, and around, like, I'd say, I started looking around 2009, 10, 11 is when I was kind of looking for a home or apartment or a condo. And yeah, I couldn't qualify. I couldn't qualify. It was like, oh my God, like, do I got to work another job? Like, and the crazy thing is this radio station, just hook, line, and sinker, that came across when I was driving one day, I think, to work. And it's like the thing went like this, like, hey, we're a real estate company. We're from HGTV. We're Than Merle and JD, and we're a real estate fix and flip company, flip this house show, and we're coming to Hawaii, and we're looking to have a few people to join our team. Hook, line, sinker. I was like, dude, I'm going to the event, right? So I called the number. They said, okay, it's gonna be at this date, and I went to the event. I knew they was gonna sell something, because it's too good to be true, right? Like, but I knew what when I went there, they were going to sell something. And what happened was, what the guy talked about, I knew that I had the right connections because I was always around the construction crew growing up, that I was going to be part of the team. And yeah, I ended up signing up because after that event, there was like, at the end of that event, it was like a 3-day event where you had to pay like $500 or $600, and then I paid for that. But am I talking too much?
Oh no, I'm like totally hooked. I'm sure the people listening are enjoying it as much as I am.
I mean, there's like so much more that is missing that from my childhood stuff, but like this real estate thing that coming out, getting 3 jobs, stacking money, building my credit, and not making excuses, right? Well, poor me, poor this, and like, how come, I cannot do this? But I'm very driven, and like, I'm not gonna wait around for handouts, right?
Yeah.
I choose to be where I'm at today because of the things that I'm passionate about, and I'm not out to get like freebies, I'm making my lifestyle.
You've never had anything handed to you.
Right.
So that's just not how you operate.
Right.
Yeah, but first, I just want to say mahalo for sharing all of that and, being open to being vulnerable with us here on the podcast, because I'm sure that stuff wasn't always easy to talk about, and it could still not be easy to talk about. So I think I respect you a lot for sharing your story, because there's gonna be people listening to this who can relate to maybe not the exact thing that happened to you, but maybe towards addiction or just growing up without many resources, or struggling with something, because there's parts of your life that I can relate to too. And I think we're all always battling our demons in one way or another. We just don't always talk about it, or we don't get confronted for them, or we don't confront ourselves
Yeah.
for them. So I think it's definitely a story that needs to be told, and to see how far you've come from that moment, from like high school, after high school, until now. To me, it's incredible. And I've only known you for a short amount of time, but to hear the backstory and to see where your heart is, it's super cool.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I pride on my story being told for others that think they cannot, or struggling with, whatever demons, like you said, because I was dealing with demons too when I was on drugs. And it took it sometimes it's not sometimes when you're on drugs, the drug would like literally take over your entire life. Like
Well, like it changes your brain, right?
you, and it becomes an addiction where you gotta have the drug, right? And yeah, I mean, I hit, luckily, not luckily, but I'm blessed that I hit a low where it changed my life, as in high school when I went to Bobby Benson. But then what really changed my life was when I got arrested. That was like, dude, this is like, I'm gonna spend the rest, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, thank you, God, thank you for doing this, because now, like, I don't want to spend like the time that I was looking at when I got arrested was a lot, right? It was 7 to 10 years because of the amount that I had that I got caught with, and that was a lot of time, to be away from home. So, and I have family and friends that did time, like, 20 years inside, and like, that 7 years or 6 or 7 years I was away is like enough for me to say, okay, this life is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
So, and I want to be an inspiration for people that, that went down that road, that there's help. And it really is a mindset, because it's really, people can tell you, bro, you should quit or whatever, but it's either in here or in here. And it's got to be a change from you. I can speak for myself. Like, I was done with that lifestyle, and it was really a cold cut change. And I'm like, okay, switch over, and not much people can do that.
Yeah, definitely. So your first day getting incarcerated, or going to prison, is that when you decided to make the change, or it took a little bit? So by the time you finish, you've already decided, like, this is the new life I'm gonna live.
Oh yeah. So I was in Maui when I had, got arrested, but the feds, the informant, like, came, and it was like, when the green guys, right, they like knock you with the guns, like, put your hands up, right? Like,
Wow, like the kind you see in
right,
the
no,
movies.
like you see in movies,
That's
like,
what
yeah,
happened.
like,
Oh.
literally, like, holy crap, like, they got bulletproof vests, like, okay, I'm done, right? And then, like, they, get me out of the car and put me on the ground, shove me in the, like, bro, you're going away for a long time.
Were you
it's like,
mad?
I wasn't mad. I've always been Mr. Aloha, right? And I just was like, at ease. I was calm. I was like, I just followed whatever they said. I was like, and I was in my mind, I'm praying to God, like, thank you so much for this, because I'm done now, and that switch in my head that day when I was on the ground was the turning point of Fuzzy, right? Fuzzy Jardine that is here today.
Wow. So what was your biggest realization spending time over there and coming out?
One thing that struck me was being away from, like, I could only look at the surf magazines and then seeing my friends going, winning contests and seeing them all in the magazines. And then um, being away from my family members, being away from, loved ones. It just, hurts, right? It hurt, but it was something that I needed to do because of of course, it was a crime that I committed. So the debts to my society, I had to do it. I had no choice.
Mhm.
But what really struck me was when my family would come to visit, when they did, is I seen I was single, right? When I had a girlfriend, but I was like I didn't have kids, I was married. Then I seen the families come in, and then when we had to leave, the little girl, the little son crying, "Daddy," crying like, and that right there
Mm.
made me stuck in my head like, man, I could feel him. I could feel the guy, my family when they leave and stuff. I knew I had time, I was able to go home. A lot of the guys in there, that some of them are lifers, some of them are like, looking at 20, 30 years. And by the time they get out, they're like little baby gonna be,
Oh yeah.
old already. So that made me really resonated in me to like, okay, Fuzzy, um, when you get out, it's over. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of what I remember, just being
Yeah.
away from home. But I knew I had to do this, time. But what happened was I focused on my life day to day, right where I was at, like working out. Like there's a lot of things in there that people don't know. You can get your license as an electrician, a plumber. There's a lot of programs in there
Mm.
that yeah, crazy. You
Mhm.
can get whatever, not whatever, but most anything you can think of in there.
So you can be productive
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kind of work your way to being an active member of
yes.
society.
So, and I could have chose to go get my, plumbing or electrician license and stuff, or, get that. But what I chose was to hang around. There was some guys in there that was white collar sorry. There was some guys in there that was white collar crime that, maybe never paid the taxes, or, did bad business, or rip people off and stuff like that. But some of them I sat hours with, right? There's these guys that knew about the stock market. There was a guy that I sat with. His name is Paul Carney. He sat on the Chicago Board of Directors, right? So he was like this big guy who managed millions and millions of dollars. And because he did a certain type of trade, he lost millions of dollars of people's money.
Mhm.
So he ended up, going in, but he knew a lot about business. So I sat hours with him, learning about the stock market, learning about, how to present yourself as a businessman, learning about business. And then there's another guy named Joel who really um, taught. There was a class he taught a class about real estate,
Mhm.
right? And that's where I learned a little bit about real estate, that it's local market. So what you hear about the news all around the world or in the States is different from your local market, right? Some markets might be better than others. So that kind of resonated with me before I came home. And I learned how to do the house hack, which is you buy a home that's busted up while you're living in it, fix it up for 2 years, right? You live in it for 2 years, and then after the second year, within the last 2 to 5 years, if you was to sell it and sell it for a profit as a single person, you could make 250K profit if there was that much, right?
Mhm.
And not get taxed on it. Or if you was married, 500K. So house hacking like that, where you go in to buy a bust up place, fix them up, live in it for 2 years, sell it, make a profit, take that money and flip it into another one, and you can do that every 2 years,
Mhm.
was intriguing to me, right? And not only that, I read a lot of like, Robert Kiyosaki books and real estate books prior to coming home. But when I came home, I didn't have, I like having a mentor is huge. And there was none here, right? So I was just ready when that radio station came up. Ready meaning I had the means to pay for, like, I borrowed, like, really, like, borrowed the money to pay for the education, because the education was 26 grand. I didn't have the 26 grand. I had the credit, I had some money, but I didn't have all of it, right? So I did, I had a loan. Well, I'm a loan from First Orient Bank, which is from Oha, right? And then like I had a $6,000 or $7,000 credit card, and that's what started my journey with this company called like Fortune Builders.
Wow. The thing I like the most about you is that you took your life into your own hands,
Yeah.
and then you never played the victim. But so many people do that, especially in situations or from upbringings like yours. They're like, well, trauma, childhood trauma, or, this is how people where I'm from act. This is the path, and you just didn't accept that. And I respect that so much, because even people who I see on social media, like in the comment sections, I see so many victim mindsets
Yeah.
of how they're commenting like on certain things, whether it's like learning Hawaiian language,
Right.
not being able to afford living here, or you could post a video saying like, oh, do this or follow these steps to buy land back, and then they're always gonna have an excuse.
Right.
And I'm like, you think you have it bad? There's someone who's always had it worse and has done more with that than you.
Right.
People don't even realize how lucky we are just to live in this place, in Hawaii, in a developed country. People come here, they don't even speak English. They come to America, they have no money, they can't even speak English. They end up speaking English, running a business, getting successful, and you're here making excuses because I don't know, your parents didn't teach you how to, I don't know, apply to college or something. It's like all these excuses, but I see no excuses. I see full accountability, and I'm becoming such a fan, Fuzzy.
We gotta love those people too, because God taught us to love everyone. He loved everyone, right? He even loved the small sparrow, right? So this really, like, Jesus, like, right, to follow what Jesus is doing, but like, because the mindset or mentality was how, like, maybe they're growing up, they're not as educated, or like took the time to educate themselves like I did, when I had the time, or just because, or also not only that, maybe they're in that circle of influence that's always negative, right? And their mindset is, bro, there's no way I can do that. No way. You keep thinking like that, you're gonna end up being that way, or you're gonna, like, just saying like, man, I always get hurt. I always get hurt, or I always get sick. You end up, that usually happens, right? Because your mind's thinking that, and that's really what's happening when I see these posts, because I post too, right? I'm heavy on social media now because I feel there's a need to educate our local community, and 100% of my content is for local people. I'm not against other people not from Hawaii. I'm not prejudiced, but I feel our local people need to learn what other people know that's coming here, that's buying our properties, our land for vacation home that's being empty, right? Learn their tricks, learn their strategies on what they're doing, and do the same thing. Because my hat goes off to all the Kanaka that's out there fighting for our land back, right? Our activist that's been fighting for years. And in his modern day, and that's a huge topic that's been going on for years. You know, but for me, it's like, we still got to put food on our table. We still got to have roof over our heads. So while the Kanaka is doing their thing to fight for our land back, we, me and you, maybe can educate our Kanaka to invest our money or live up. Like, you guys, plant tree, native plants, raise animals and stuff like that, right? Teaching other ways to help the kuleana for, to take care of the Aina from, the mountain to the sea,
Mm-hmm.
so we all can help each other and spread that aloha. But like, I think all of us born and raised, or even not, from here, that come and embrace our culture, our you know, our like being Hawaiian and aloha. When people come from elsewhere and they love who we are, they like being Hawaiian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so infectious. Um, we can all live together. But the crazy thing is, like, you look at the Filipinos, and not racist now, Filipinos, Samoans, and all these other cultures, they come to Hawaii, they house hack, right? They all can live in one house together. But how come the Hawaiians always fighting?
Mm.
Why? We all can live together. We all pitch in. We go buy one house together. We can afford 5 of us, and we all just live in them for a little while. House hack, live in them for 2 years. The equity is gonna grow. Then we all invest one more time into another house, and then eventually you're gonna own more locals. Going to own homes, and eventually our homes are going to be people can come back from the mainland that moved away from Hawaii. We can teach people that are people who move to Vegas, which they call it the ninth island, but really it ain't, right? It's just the states. The strategies that people are doing to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can stack there to buy land back here.
It seems so simple when you just
I mean,
say it like that.
is, but
But what's stopping people from doing it?
it's fear, right? And then the circle, of course, the circle, and then not wanting to better their lives. Sometimes a lot of our families is like, I would say, like, we call it brainwash growing up, because what we go to school, you get education, go graduate high school, go get a higher education, pay for college if you can, then go get a good job um, for 30 years or what. And what happens when the company folds? Like, where you gonna go, right? And that's what we're ingrained. But there's a ceiling to every company that you work for. So if you don't create on side hustle or some type of income, multiple streams of income, which like the rich people do, right? They
Mm-hmm.
find other ways to make money while they sleep. It's going to be harder for you to make ends meet here in Hawaii. So that, what is our minimum wage? Like $14? How is it going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So reaching for a better life is important to be able to stay here as a Kanaka. And the reason why I see a lot of people, want to go to the States is because, of course, it's cheaper, right? But I call it as they giving up,
Mm-hmm.
right? How come some of us can, stay here? I choose not to go. I love it here. This is my home. I'm not leaving.
Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to what are you willing to sacrifice? Because if you're coming to live here, you're sacrificing maybe some time because you have to put it in more time into a job, trying to take care of your family, whatever. But then you're gaining everything you see outside. You're gaining the great culture, great food, great people. And it's just more like you said, if you want something, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get to it,
Yeah.
to achieve that goal. And maybe some people just aren't ready for that sacrifice to do the extra work.
Yeah, and I think it is either like procrastination, laziness, right? And getting, a lot of them are like I'm not trying to talk crap about
Yeah.
us locals, because I love all locals. I get family members too that get handouts, right? Some of them on Section 8, and like that's like free handouts. Like my family members and like EBT and all this stuff, like it's free handouts, right? It's comfortable.
So they don't have to like work
Right.
extra,
Hey, if you can take advantage of it, right? Cool. But if you want something better, when you want ownership here, I mean, I'm not saying like renting is not cool and stuff like that. Man, you can travel all over, rent a place for like, 6 months and then go to another house 6 months, right? It's just depending on the person, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just here to try like you, like spread that aloha and
Mhm.
show that it can be done, that like and spread that if you educate yourself just a little bit every day, your life is just going to be that much more better.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're on a similar mindset of growth, abundance, and just trying to be a little bit better than we were before and inspire the next generation. Show them representation, because I believe that's the biggest thing, is to see like, rah, this guy from Waimanalo, he got into drugs. He never really wasn't that good in school, but look at him. He's successful now. He owns land. He's doing all these things, helping out other people. I could do that too. Or they know somebody who's similar. They're like, brah, check out this guy. He was just like you.
Right.
You can do that too. Or like another Hilo boy.
Yeah.
Like, brah, I could start a podcast. I could travel the world. I could do whatever. That's what we're here to do at the end of the day, is to inspire these people to hopefully live an extraordinary life, right? Extraordinary life, not extraordinary,
But it's so crazy. Like you look sponsors like this, just like either sponsors. Like I surfed and I didn't know, like, okay, I could get boards for free or clothing for free.
Yeah.
Just by doing something that I loved, and and it came to a point where they're paying me, and supporting what I love to do, and being an ambassador for their brand, and become part of their company is crazy. And then nowadays, like, to make money is even easier because it's information age. Growing up as a teenager, I didn't have like the social media we have now. We just talked to each other, play games, or rode bike and went surfing, right? And it was more like hands on, or like, more personable. Like nowadays, everybody just texts, right?
Mhm.
Or you go to the airport, you see everybody on their phone.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you see people.
The headphones in.
But it's easier now with the information age to create either a YouTube channel or a Instagram page that's faceless and become an affiliate marketer, and you become a multimillionaire at like a teenager.
Mhm.
Like, it's crazy,
Yeah.
right?
There's so many ways out there to make money.
No excuses,
Like there's just an infinite amount
right?
of resources. So many. Whether you have no skill in anything, there's a YouTube video that teaches everything. Everything.
I'm gonna tell you something. Like,
Yeah.
I was a copycat in school.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not gonna call myself dumb, but I just was. I chose not to study and do the work. So the smart guys in front of me, I get my hat right here. That's copycat. You can do the same thing that these guys are doing online and still become a multimillionaire just by copying and paste. Nowadays, you can download videos and have somebody else do all the work, edit it for you, and create the Spotify links. And like, it's crazy that in this world now that you can make good money.
Mhm.
It's out there.
And then it just comes down
not,
to
not
how
illegally now.
Yeah, not
It's
illegally.
legally now.
yes, that's the key word, legally. Yeah, but yeah, it just comes down to education, knowing how, or being able to get yourself to that point where you have this curiosity of how to like get there. Because to me it's like learning a language, where if you don't have a true interest in learning it, you're not gonna learn it.
Right.
Things are just gonna go in and out of your brain.
Well, like, even after high school, or even if you didn't, some people never went and got their diploma. Like, educating yourself shouldn't stop after high school.
And it doesn't always have to be in the classroom.
Right. You can learn something that you're passionate about from somebody that is already doing it, and going to that person, like, dude, I'll work for you for free.
Mhm.
And learn the skill, and then, eventually, the guy maybe pay you or the girl pay you, and then eventually turn that into your own business.
Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest issue is overarching issue is housing. How do we afford to live here?
Right.
We have a lot of homelessness and empty, vacant condos and Airbnbs, whatever. Not Airbnbs, but like places where people just come and buy and then they live here for like 2 weeks out of the year or whatever. But under that, I think the root of it is just how do we get money to buy these places?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we don't have money, there's nothing else we can do.
Yeah, and then if you don't know on how to get that money, right? It's finding out how, right? Like if you're stuck in a mindset like, bro, there's no way I can, then yeah, that's true.
Then there's no way you can.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because you think that way, but when you hang around people that's actually doing it and is successful in something that you see going on social media or you hear about, like, dude, it's happening for me and my family. I created generational wealth. Like if I was to pass away today, like my family, my kids, my grandkids gonna be taken care of.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. Like, and our parents, our grandparents, well, mine, come from a blue collar background. They just work. The harder you work or the more jobs you get, the more you get paid. But it's just seemed like they maybe they didn't know how to manage their money correctly. So that's why they're always broke, right? Always like either refinancing their home or buying a new car, instead of living frugally, investing their money in like the stock market or real estate or whatever it is, like a business to create that, lifestyle that they want.
Yeah. So how would you say is the simplest way for someone to make money and afford these things? and I know it's not a simple answer, but like, what can you do? Say you don't have a degree or you don't know exactly what you want to do in life, but you need to make money. You just have a regular job, maybe working at some sort of store. I feel like trade work is good. People make good money in trade work, but something where you're just barely making ends meet. You have a family and kids, because these are all the things that people are going to say. They'll be like, oh, but I have 3 kids. I don't got time for an extra job or something, X, Y, and Z. There's always going to be an excuse. So for those people who always have some sort of excuse to why they can't, what's the simple answer?
Yeah, don't buy the Tacoma. Right? Don't buy, like, try to live frugally, right? Like, don't party like every day, like drinking every week.
$100 right? Going out every weekend.
At first you want to try save some, like saving is cool, but investing is more important, right? So like for me, I think if you can find something that maybe your family has a recipe that you can bottle up, package, and then, social media is crazy. You can post that thing, like, broke them out, like this company right here, yes. You create a business off of something that your family, like the recipe, a sauce, or like show you chicken the way that they make it, right? And then you sell it here, right? That's kind of, and then if you can buy something like this for like 20 cents and sell it for 120, that's where you make extra.
Good margins. Yeah.
Good margins. So thinking of ways to create, a side hustle along on the side, like part-time while you're working, your job to make ends meet then, and then stack on the side while you're working, because, people are doing it. I did, I wouldn't say unimaginable, but something that going in, coming out, not going back, not going back in, but finding a way to be able to become financially set through something, which was real estate.
Yeah. And I'm happy you said live frugally, because we always think about to get a lot of money, you just have to make a lot of money. But to have a lot of money is about saving a lot of money.
Right.
The rich don't get rich by spending the money.
Well, they invest them, right?
Yeah.
And they save, but then they're more into looking at strategies on how they can invest their money. So, like Uncle Sam, no matter what, you work for somebody, you get taxed, and then you get taxed again when you go to the store buy stuff, right? So you keep getting taxed, but create like the dollar is worth, like right now is not worth much,
A dollar isn't worth a dollar.
right? So if you can take what that money, the paper, which is made up, and invest it in something that can create double, triple, quadruple, 10x it, like now you created something out of nothing that's going to just keep cash flowing.
And when you say invest, are you investing in stocks, crypto, NFTs,
Anything,
real
like
estate,
business,
like anything,
right?
businesses?
Be an investor in somebody's company, right?
But that's risky, right?
Everything's risk. I walk out this door, I'll get hit by the car, right? I fall off, or they hit me by the car, I'm gone.
I guess it's what
everything has risk, but like I would say, like where I'm at today is because I took risk. I went to jail because I took risk. Right?
Maybe the risk takers in life are the most successful people because they're not afraid to fail.
That too. I think that's one huge yes, that's one thing. A lot of people have fear of, oh, what if I fail? What if people see me fail? They're always thinking of what other people think about you. But I just, for me, I just like really don't. It doesn't matter what people think about me. I just focus on, one is, my family is number one, and then now my mission, and I found my why here, here in the islands is to help our local families and local Hui, like help as much as I can.
Yeah, awesome. I don't know if you're similar to me. So the reason why I'm not afraid to fail, and I'm kind of thinking about this now, is because I've been I think about like the lowest, or not even the lowest, like the hardest part of my life. So for example, I would say like Peace Corps, living in the Peace Corps, being isolated and getting water from a well, pooping in a hole and stuff like that. So anytime, and there's a lot of deeper things that were hard, not just those things, internally that's difficult while I was there. So anytime something happens, or think maybe I'm afraid to do something, I think about, but is it harder than what I've already done?
Right.
And once I think about that, I'm like, no. So if I'm afraid to do something, I'm like, okay, like what's the worst that can happen? It's not going to be what happened before.
Right.
So what's there to be afraid of? I already know that feeling of being at that low point, or even like maybe like going through an addiction or something. Like, how terrible it was.
Yeah.
So knowing like, well, me failing isn't going to be as worse as that. So let me just do it. And I don't know if that's like kind of your mindset too.
Well, I surf too, right? So the big waves and stuff like that. So I mean, like I'm out there in the ocean, and it's risky to be out there because you fall off the board and you hit your head on a reef, and then it's like, so I don't know. I've always kind of been a risk taker, and it's good to take risks because look where I'm at today, bro.
Yeah, I feel like as an adult, it's more calculated risk. Like younger, I'd do flips and I would slackline, do backflips off the slackline. Now I'm just like, I'm just gonna walk straight.
A little bit more.
I don't think I need to do flips anymore. So just calculated risk as we're older.
Right, and that's true. Like more calculated risk, more exit strategies. Right, you look at all the different exit strategies that if you're going to get involved with something. Make sure that you know, okay, what the outcome is going to be, or what the different outcomes can be.
Yeah. Right on. So we're going to take a quick shishi break and then come back with the social media fan questions.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Immerse yourself in the underwater wonders of Hawaii's marine life with Hawaii Ocean Charter's hands-on guided snorkeling tours. Whether it's your first time falling in love with Waikiki or you're rediscovering its beauty just like me, there is no better way to see it than from the ocean. Personally, it was one of the best things I have done this year. I got to snorkel with some turtles and fishes, and I was able to catch the coolest sunset over the water. Conveniently located in Kaka'ako with online booking and live availability, finding the perfect day on the water couldn't be easier with them. Ride in style on their unique and well cared for power catamaran that offers all the amenities you need. Locally owned and operated, their friendly crew lives for sharing their love for the ocean with others. Sunset cruises, guided snorkeling tours, whale and dolphin watching, coastal sightseeing, and fireworks shows are among the tours their guests love the most. Use code KIA50 to get $50 off of your next charter. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. First shishi break of 2024. Much needed. All right, so let's get into our social media fan questions presented by Texco in Hawaii. This first question comes from Avadada. Big supporter of the podcast. I think I've read a couple questions from him before, so shout out to you. This person wants to know, how did you get your name Fuzzy?
Oh, man.
I'm sure people ask you that a lot.
Crazy question. So, I don't know if you know that basketball player called Yao. Remember there was a Yao, and everybody was going Yao.
Yao Ming?
Yao, yeah. So my dad and I would be answering the phone calls when people call. It was like, hey, what's up, Twinkle Toes? Or, hey, what's up, Hammer Jang? But then, Fuzzy kind of came up, so he'd be calling me, what's up, Fuzzy? Like, bro, I'm not Fuzzy. What's up, Fuzzy? I'm not Fuzzy. You're Fuzzy. So we just started teasing each other, and then it just kind of stuck. That's how I got the name Fuzzy.
So your dad?
Not Fuzzy back, Fuzzy arm, Fuzzy feet, but for my pops, yeah, my dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had it as when you were...
Well, I started, wasn't raised with my dad, I was raised with my mom and her parents. And then, but when I turned around, I think it was like 18, 19, 20, kind of got time to go hang out with my pops,
And you were Fuzzy by then?
No, my name was my nickname during high school.
No, I mean you're literally Fuzzy.
No, I wasn't Fuzzy. Maybe my hair was.
Yeah.
But it was just, just a name that he just came up with. We'd tease each other, and it just stuck, bro.
And then even your friends started calling you that?
Yeah.
Would you ever introduce yourself as Fuzzy?
I do all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now you are Fuzzy. You're not Kolaiah.
Kolaiah is my real name, but the reason why a lot of people they pronounce my name or misspell my name, so it's kind of comes hand in hand. That's why I go by Fuzzy.
Hard to mispronounce Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Unless you would say Fuzzy, but everybody knows what Fuzzy is.
Right. And then you meet me, I make people kind of more I don't know, more comfortable, right? More at ease.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, warm and fuzzy.
Hey, there you go. I love that. Multiple meanings right there. All right, next question comes from apubs22. This person wants to know, what would his dream look like for the Aina of all of Hawaii?
Man, to bring our the other 50% or 60% of people who moved away back home would be awesome. That would be huge. But it's gotta happen through us educating ourselves. The ones that did move away educate themselves financially so that they can stack, like I said earlier in the show, stack to build to come back home.
Mm.
I believe in, and everybody just keep spreading that Aloha spirit, no matter who we are or where we're at. Share that Aloha spirit and keep it alive.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it Aloha, man. Right?
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
I know. I'm a huge believer in Aloha, what it can do for people, what it does for me. Just having an Aloha mindset. I know Aloha can't buy me a house, but in some ways it can, having that Aloha spirit, being Aloha and sharing Aloha with people, maybe that Aloha comes back to you, in some ways.
Yeah,
maybe that Aloha gives you the opportunity to get a job or to meet somebody who gives you the expertise to make money or buy a house. So to me, Aloha does make a difference.
I got big to differ with that. I gotta say that you could get Aloha from someone who owns a home that has a mortgage already, and you'd be doing something called like a subject to, right? You'd
Mm-hmm.
take over their existing mortgage and really not have to have any credit or have money. All you gotta do is come up with the monthly payments to keep that monthly payments that's going on, and then pay them down the road. Like either you put an equity or come up with some funds to agree on our you come on an agreement with the seller or the homeowner to pay them down the line, like a few years, 5 years,
It's
10
almost like
years.
renting to own.
Yes,
Or
similar.
like lease to own, kind of like
Right, you just kind of
car
like they
terms.
don't want to be there no more, or they own the home. It's been sitting there for a long time, and they live somewhere else, right? And then it's called a subject to. It's a strategy that sellers or people homeowners like can spread the aloha to you,
Yeah.
right? But
No,
by educating
I
them,
agree.
so you spread the aloha by educating them on that strategy, and then they spread the aloha back to you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like there's so much strategies out there where people think you need money or credit to obtain uh, home ownership.
Mm-hmm. So with that, the subject to, you could go to anybody. They already own it because they had the good credit, they had the finances. I could have like a low 700 credit score.
No need to even have credit.
You don't even need credit.
No credit.
I could have.
Because you're dealing directly with the
Okay.
seller.
So let's say I have $10,000 in my bank account, and the mortgage is $2,500 a month. Do I have to consistently have like 3 or 1.5 income, or 3 times that income to be able to afford it? Like who's gonna have the final say of like, oh, I'm gonna sell it to you and trust that you're gonna pay this mortgage? Because like when you rent, you have to show proof of income and stuff. So
Right.
is there some sort of proof of income?
It's depending on you and the owner, right? Really.
Okay, so it's our own kind of deal.
Whoever you're dealing with, right? So say there's friends or family member that has a home that that pops up, and you're like, would you be interested in looking at terms, right? Terms is a form of the seller looking, like, so say it's all equity, like they own it outright, and if they was to sell it and they wasn't living in it, they would have to pay capital gains tax, like bigger capital gains tax. But if they spread it over years, now their capital gains tax is not as much.
Mm-hmm.
So they would either become the owner financer, they become the bank, and they rent or lease the place out to you for a certain amount of years, and then you come in at the end. Say the market changes, right, and the value goes up, you can refinance the home and pay them. You pay them what you agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that.
And it's just like how you just give your
So
car stuff to somebody.
So it's an agreement between you and the seller. So you would have a contract between the seller and you on terms, the price, all that jargon, and then you go through like an escrow company so that it's legit, right?
And once you reach that term, they give you the title.
Right, or you just keep negotiating, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and keep negotiating. But yes, once the term is, you say what you're gonna do with the seller or the person that owns a home, then you get the title. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And like a lot of things, like we're looking at $1 million homes, but like look at maybe starting with a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment, and that's the thing. Like we think, $1 million, right? Start small, get this little apartment and work from there, and then once you gain equity, then you can move out, get something else, and then rent this one out, and then it's just like a one after the other.
Yeah, the thing that stopped me from buying last year, well, I'm still not at where I want to be financially, but then so all these new places coming up, and you gotta apply for the affordable housing or the lottery and stuff. You have to live in there for like 10 years.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to live there for 10 years in a high rise, I think that's something that
I think you can, there's ways of, I don't know, like it's just depending on you, your situation. Like if you want to get into it and then live in it for a little while and then sell it, right? That's what they're like. I think the affordable housing with those, they're trying to avoid investors coming in, buying it, living for a couple of years, and then selling it for more than what they bought it for. So that's why the rules are set like for the affordable um, housing ones.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question because this is something I'm kind of going back and forth because I was always set on buying something eventually.
Mhm.
And so once I'm able to afford it, I want to buy a place. But now I'm thinking, well, would it just in the long term just kind of be cheaper if I just rented a place? And because I don't got to worry about the
Right.
maintenance, taking care of it, everything's, there's things break and it's a lot of work.
Right.
But like I could just rent a place. I don't got to
Mhm.
worry about anything. I just pay the rent and I just live my life.
Grant Cardone style, right? I don't know if you watch Grant Cardone.
Yeah,
Like
I've seen it before.
he goes and rents and nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really up to the person. Because like you said, you don't have to maintain anything. The owner has to. And all you're doing is just paying rent towards your the place that you stay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can stack, right? Or invest your money and do other things here and never own if you choose to. And then, live life happily too still.
So it's just
So
two
you don't
different
have
lifestyles.
don't have to own
Mm-hmm.
like it's that's the good thing about, being independent on, and I don't know, choosing your lifestyle. You don't have to for me, I'm not trying to teach people, hey, bro, you gotta buy one house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Renting is good too. Because
Yeah.
I rented too, right?
Yeah.
Life was like to me it was much, much easier when I didn't have to go mow the lawn or do all this.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, I'm all for renting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see myself like renting for a while, but still owning property.
Yeah.
Either some land for my family
Right.
or I don't know. We'll see when I get there, but just some stuff that I think about. Okay. Nahaku_N_Haukea ask, what was a significant moment that changed the trajectory of your life?
Oh, when I had my daughter, yeah. Yeah, when Kiara came into this world, when I was getting ready to have, my wife was ready to have Kiara, and it just kind of that was just like the turning point. Okay, now I have something to live for, right? And because I was raised with my mom and stepdad and my grandparents, like I didn't want that for my kids. So it's she's like the apple of my eye, and like I do everything for her, my wife. And then when I met my wife, she has 2 kids too, but they became we became one ohana. And yeah, I do everything now for them.
Nice.
So that's the changing point was I have had a why. I really had when I came home, I had a why, but I just didn't. I was still single, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then when I met my wife and then had Kiara, and I met her, met the 2 kids, I was like, okay, now I got purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then even more, turning point was, okay, now I got to figure out how I can leave a legacy for these children, and like to create like generational wealth through real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. How old were you when you had your first kid?
I was 38.
38.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards not having kids.
And I was too, right?
Yeah.
I was because I know there's a lot to be a father,
Mhm.
right? And but when she did come, I was like, wow, this is
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what I hear. I
amazing.
mean, I have friends who have kids, and he's like,
Yeah.
"It's the best thing ever." Right now, I've seen it as
Oh,
it's
you can
the worst
borrow.
thing
You can
ever.
borrow mine.
No. I have 7 nieces and nephews. I borrow them and give them back.
You
I
can
don't like
borrow
take them home. We'll see how my life changes in 5 to 10 years.
Right.
All right. Next question comes from Eileen_Kitty. Shout out to this person. This person been following me on Instagram for a while. Mahalo for your words of wisdom while standing in the long checkout line in Hilo. That's what they say.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this
I
person.
remember. Yeah, I was just in Long's Drugs. There was a long line.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this lady approached me. Well, she was standing in front of me. I'm sorry if I forget. I forgot your name, but she was. There was. She told me there's a sign. She was up there to spread her mom's ashes, and there was a sign that her mom. Mom told her to go back to Big Island and purchase something like a land. And I was that third sign standing
Wow.
behind her. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, right? Like I was like, and I told her this. I said, if you don't buy now, it's never going to be the same. Like if you look at the prices of real estate, where it has gone now, like where it's at now, it's going to go even higher if locals or people don't buy something, whether it's land or something. It's just gonna turn crazy, and then we're gonna only be renters, which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she was looking to, for that sign, and yeah, that was crazy, bro. Yeah, Tito.
That's awesome. What a
I
cool
remember. Yeah, I
interaction.
remember. I was like, wow,
It's crazy because
wow.
this is an example of you don't know how you're gonna affect people's lives.
Social media is
Yeah.
crazy, bro. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah.
Well, last week I was
Yeah.
standing in line, and I was patient because there was only like one teller, and then I was standing in the line with the light on, and then she was like, I don't know, standing in the other long line, and then somebody told, "Oh, you got to stand in this line." And I stood in front of her, and then she was like,
And she
"Oh,
recognized you
I
from
follow
yeah,
you."
yeah, yeah.
Like, oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Island_Kitty. I know I can see your face, but when people follow me, I remember their Instagram handles. I forget their names sometimes, or I just never learn their name. But shout out to you if you're watching this. Next question comes from Hope Alexis 777. This person says, "Would you ever go to South Africa?"
Yes, surf South Africa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
JB.
I thought it was kind of a random question, but maybe there was some sort of
How come?
significance to South
If you
Africa.
house me, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean South Africa. I love traveling, right? So if it's my passion, right? I got involved with real estate because I'm able to travel and take my children to places where you only read in the book. Like,
Mm-hmm.
locals here in Hawaii, because it's so expensive, it's tough for us to travel and go to places. We only learn about stuff in history, about in books. So now I'm able to, take my family to places.
Nice. Yeah, South Africa's cool, but you gotta hop over to Madagascar if you
Yeah.
go there.
Well, I mean, travel. If I'm gonna go to, Africa, I mean, I want to like check it out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, last question comes from Te Henri_Designs. This person says, "How do we make home buying and land buying more affordable? Oh, sorry, more affordable and realistic?"
Yeah, it's gotta start with, like this is me. Like our counties is a huge factor of the permitting and stuff, like the land zoning. A lot of ag land that's here in Honolulu. The state owns a bunch of property that could open up more opportunities, but they're actually not. But one way is by house hacking or house sharing, by living with, other people for the meantime until you can, eventually own your own. That's the only way I feel that you can make that affordable,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of like renting, right, with roommates,
Mm-hmm. Cheaper
right?
rent. Yeah.
So everybody just kind of put in a pot, share, and then eventually, like, if you buy a kind of like a fixer upper, right? You still buy it cheap and then fix it up, and then eventually it's worth like 2, 3, 400K more, and you take advantage of that equity to go purchase another investment, and then you either like rent out rooms, and then like half the family in that stay in that house, and then the other half in this,
Mm-hmm.
and then you keep putting in the pot, and eventually everybody will own a house.
It
Affordable,
sounds
right?
simple enough, But I guess it's finding
It's a
people to actually want to
mindset
do
too,
that.
and then being able to live with other people.
Yeah. And
'Cause-
living below your means.
Yeah, and I think it's the only way because it's super expensive, right?
Mhm.
To purchase anything.
Yeah.
Especially here on Oahu.
Okay, so what you're saying is I gotta talk to all my best friends. We're gonna buy one property and we're just gonna live on over there.
Yeah.
And just party all the time.
Party.
I pay cheap rent until we can all afford to buy our own place.
Well, you just make sure that everybody's stacking, looking for the next investment, right? While you live in there, fix them up, and then always keeping your eye open for the next investment, right?
You guys heard it here first. Go gather with your best friends or your families, live together, stack.
Yeah.
And that's the secret.
Hey, man, I get Filipino friends, and bro, they're the best house stackers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the draped bed, like like I was like amazed, like wow, this is so crazy, but they're smart.
And they get choke money probably.
And they get plenty of money. They go chicken bite, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's one way that people say, "Wow, cannot afford here." That's one way to make it affordable.
Okay, so no excuses. Mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe a question will make it on the podcast. Okay, so we're coming to the back end of the podcast, and the question I ask everybody at this point is, what does keeping it aloha mean to them? You're a big advocate of aloha. I love keeping it aloha. So in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
Shoot, man, it's a lifestyle, right? You create the lifestyle of sharing peace with each other, being able to live with each other, even if you have differences, still treat each other with respect, and just always like being like not always, but try to be more of a giver than a taker, right? That's really what the Aloha spirit is. Like I grew up always with that spirit in the ohana that I grew up with. And my Portuguese grandfather and my Hawaiian grandmother, like he was the hard worker. She was the caregiver to all the kids. And, watching them too, like grandpa working, but then he was always giving to his friends or giving pig or, fish and stuff to our friends. Would be going to neighbors' houses or friends' homes to help paint their home or help fix up this and fix up that. And it's just being cool with everybody,
Yeah, giving aloha.
Just aloha, like love, right? You love each other, and I think it goes back to, going back to God and Jesus, right? They like he sacrificed his own son for us, right? So I mean, I'm not trying to go the biblical way or be scriptural here, but I think that's where it all came from. God is love, and then we show love to one another, and I think we'd be all okay.
Yeah.
Spread a little aloha, right?
Hey, that's what the kind said, right? Spread a little aloha around the world.
Right.
Aloha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. In your life, were you ever at a point where you felt disconnected from our culture, or maybe insecure about any type of, way that you were living culturally, ethnically? Because you look pretty like on local brother. I feel like
I'm a local brother.
Yeah, and
right?
you surfed and
I
hunted
talk,
fish, so
you can relate, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm from the Aina,
Yeah.
I'm from here.
You was always rooted.
I pride to be Hawaiian, I'm of course half breed, but still, I'm born here. My family roots go, it's Hawaiian, Portuguese, but man, I don't think I left. I'm just here, man.
Yeah. Just barefoot. Yeah. What makes you proud to be Hawaiian?
Just being here, right? Like from the most beautifulest place in the world, one of the most beautifulest places in the world, and the culture, the people. Like, man, this is like God's country, right? Like everybody comes here from everywhere around the world, and we're like this little spot
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the globe.
It must be special
It's
then,
special, bro.
Yeah.
People keep coming back and they're buying all our land.
Maybe too special.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Hawaiian homes and stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's a battle with the people that's been on the list for a long time. Development, because I'm a developer, I know how long it takes to develop things. I believe it's political.
Mm-hmm.
It's a political side. There's it's a plus and a minus to Hawaiian Homestead, right? But the thing is, I think what they need to do is create, open up more properties to build homes and you can. There's so much property out here, right? On Oahu, Maui, Big Island. And I think what the misconception is, if you put your name on the list, right, and you choose Waimanalo, which is the best place on earth,
After Hilo.
they're not building no more homes for Homestead in Waimanalo.
Mm.
So you got to wait till somebody die to get awarded, right? They're not opening up no more. Well, I take that back. Who knows when they will, right? If I don't know the plans, but sometimes you got to choose in different areas that the award's going to come up that you might not want to live in, but just to start, right? So you're going to be end up like, that's how come most people, pass away on the list. Like my uncles, aunties, grandparents passed away too on the list, but because they chose in areas that wasn't up, for award. But I'm a homesteader. I from my dad's parents, my dad's dad. I bought their property from them. I bought the lease, and we didn't have to wait on the list. My wife and I was on the list, and we just was able to transfer the deed. But of course, I purchased the home from grandma because she was gonna sell it, and she of course needed the money. So yeah, I mean it's crazy to think that. I mean, like, to me, I love the homestead, because, or where I live is because my we're keeping it in the family, right? And then I'm gonna pass them down to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
The taxes is the huge one where we only pay like probably $100 a year for taxes. But you still, like, the misconception is, even if you get awarded, you still got to get qualified, to purchase this home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in the homestead, of course, it's a lot cheaper. But like in Kapolei, I think Kapolei, there's a bunch of homes that's new that's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
that people who are on the list, but I think the prices are more like in the 4s and 5s, yeah.
Yeah.
Or most locals cannot like, not, I wouldn't say cannot afford. It's going to be more of a struggle to make ends meet unless DHHL or OHA has a program with, I don't know right now, but I know like the banking part where they give them like low interest,
Mm-hmm.
right, payments to be able to put themselves in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about how do you feel about all these high rises coming up, and like especially in town they're knocking down all these local businesses, and they say it's supposed to be affordable housing for locals, so like they section off a percentage of the available apartments for locals, but that price is still expensive for even locals to afford, and then a lot of times a lot of these places are vacant. We're in Kakako right now. There's a lot of places here in Kakako that are vacant that they're trying to fill
Yeah,
up.
I think that thing that filled a lot of people's pockets in the I don't know if it's in the political side or whoever's involved with, like, how is a 40-story building or a 30-story building come up in like a year or two, when I'm over here trying, like a mom and pop trying to do a renovation at a house for my family member, takes me a year and a half, 2 years just
Mm-hmm.
to add a room to my house, like an
Yeah.
ADU.
After getting all the
Right?
permits
So
and stuff like that.
it makes a lot of people upset
Mm-hmm.
on, like, hey, how is that happening? Maybe I didn't see where the planning was, or like, yeah, it's hurtful to see all these buildings saying that it's affordable, but affordable starts at $900,000.
Mm-hmm.
right? Or 600, right? And that's not affordable.
Affordable to who? Yeah.
All right. And right now, who's buying them?
Mhm.
Right? Who's purchasing them? And is it even being lived in right now? If you go by Alamoana, you look up above what Bloomberg's.
Yeah, Park Lane.
Yeah, I mean, is that lease or like? There's a lot of buildings in there that's empty, right? Even the tall ones that's coming up. Is that out of state owners buying them?
Yeah. So this is uh, some food for thought, because I saw a comment on one of our clips about I think it's Justin Chan's episode. He lives here in town, and he bought an apartment. Somebody was like, I just wanna, or like I forget what it was, but how something in the lines of, when somebody moves here, it displaces another Hawaiian or another person. But in my mind, I'm thinking, because okay, so if somebody moves here and they're buying an open apartment that nobody was gonna buy anyways, is that really affecting me and other people? I think we want our land. I don't care about these high rises. So, and this is just my personal opinion.
Right.
I don't care. Like, bro, buy these high rises, put money into our economy. That's totally fine, because I'm not gonna buy that place anyways.
Right.
Most locals can't even afford that.
No.
The thing that I care about is having our land.
Right.
So I don't know. What do you think?
No,
about
yeah,
that?
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, there's so much property that the military, that they protect us, right? I mean, they're big, huge protecting with their weapons. But you look at where all the properties that they're leasing for like dollar, cheap. How come we not can give that back to our, the people that's born and raised here, right? Give some of the Aina back, and help, like, to build a home. Like, the process is so simple, but like the development, it's the one. It could be the federal government, it could be the state. All these things that block all these things happening to help us as locals to get our land back. Right? It's political, bro. It's like this one. It goes to, they stole our land. One, right? We all know, and they ain't giving them back right now. Right? So you move on to the ones that's the activists that's fighting to get our land back for years. And we want that to happen. Like, we want, like, give us land back to build. Like, it's simple.
Yeah, not even to build houses, but to grow,
right? Or something.
So
right?
we don't need to rely on the ships to come in, and
Right.
There's so much land here that we can just be
That's
growing.
leased too, right? There's lease, so it's got, like, I'm stoked that a lot of these groups are going through the court system now, and the Kanaka is lawyers and trying to get us somewhere, to make that happen. So
I think I saw probably one of the first videos I saw of you. I think it was some not a lottery, but like you can like auction.
Yeah.
You could buy stuff out. Can you explain that? What
So
is that?
I mean, when people here in Hawaii, they don't pay the tax for a certain amount of years, like 2 or 3 years. What happens is the county level, they'll auction off your property, whether it's the land or house. And a lot of people that not paying attention, or they change the address, and sometimes the tax office won't send your tax, letter to pay your taxes. And that's how a lot of quiet title things happen, where people go to these auction and bid on properties that's super cheap. And I'm like 47, and like my parents didn't know about this, right? There's this little room that the county has a list of all these properties, and whatever the people that, like, taxes right here in Hawaii is like maybe 0.1, like 1% of whatever your house is worth. So at these auctions, my first auction, which was on the Big Island, there was maybe about 50 or 60 properties that was auctioned off. And I just went because somebody said, oh, you should go to the tax auction. It's, you can buy properties cheap. I didn't know. And when I went, I was like, I had to sit back. I was like amazed that there was not a lot of Kanaka there.
Mm.
And I felt the need to post something, right? And that was the highest, I don't know, likes and shares and never went viral, but to me was Hawaii viral. But I felt that I needed to share that Kanaka or people that's from Hawaii born and raised, they need to go to these auctions to buy land. That's a way that they can buy the land back or let their family members know that what's going on, like pay your taxes. If not, it's going to get auctioned off and someone else can buy it at pennies on the dollar. So like these tax auctions is not only here in Hawaii, but or like throughout the 50 states. Every week there's a tax deed or tax lien. You can buy properties pennies on a dollar from the county or the tax offices from whatever state you're looking to invest in.
Where do you find these auctions?
So you just call the tax office, and sometimes before they go or auction these off, you can ask them for a list, or you pay $1 to get the list. So once the list comes, it'll come directly to you. And before the auction, they give the people who own it or who owe the taxes 30 days to come clean with their taxes, and then whoever don't, they set a date, right, to go to the app.
So are people surprised by that? So say I just never knew about this tax thing and I own a house, and then one day there's somebody to show up on my door and be like, "Hey, we're taking this house from you."
Well, there's a redemption period, right?
Okay.
So there's a year redemption period if you didn't know and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you find, oh my God, I never paid my taxes, and it got auctioned off. What? Like crazy? You can go back to whoever won the bid. You would have to pay them what they won the bid at plus a 12% APR percent. So you'd have to, within that year. So say you get back to them in 3 months, they prorate it. Like you pay them, what is that? Like say it's 100 grand, you pay them like,
Dang.
three grand, right?
That's an expensive bill.
Yeah, if you don't like, that's why, around like the reason why I keep posting these things is because a lot of titles, been quiet titles like this, and a lot of local families didn't know about that, and maybe they're not living here, right? They're living in the States, but they didn't know their grandfather or grandmother had the property, and then it got auctioned off, and then even during the year they can come back, they still didn't know, right? And that's how land got lost for years. This has been happening for years, bro. And when I sat at that auction, I was looking, wait, that lady is not look like me. That guy does not look like me. And they like went home with 10 properties.
Oh.
Right? I was like, oh my goodness.
So this
like,
is what's happening in the shadows.
So I took it upon me to learn that strategy. And I teamed up with my partner Zasha Smith, and we created a one-day event, and then the day of the tax, and it man, it was crazy to see the people who came to see us at our event. We showed them exactly what happens at these auctions, what to look for, and then to see two of our students actually bought, like they won the bid and won the property. But we told our students, like, if there's a Hawaiian name on there, like I stay away from it. I want to make sure that we either contact those family members and let them know what's going on, and try to see if they can help them save their property. And if not, then it gets auctioned off.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. I'm sure
So
people are listening.
put it this way,
to
like these auctions. So I'm gonna let you guys know, if you Kanaka, be at this auction January 10th. It's in Hilo. It starts at 9. It's gonna be at the, what is that, where they play the basketball, right? Where
the
Eat It Kanaka Stadium.
It's the Civic.
The Civic Auditorium, right? It was there 6 months ago. 6 months ago, June was the last auction. There was like 100 something properties that got auctioned off. So January 10th is the next auction, and it starting bids.
Come out.
Starting bids is at like $4,000. for 2 acres, 3 acres, right? Quarter acres,
Yeah.
right?
This episode doesn't come out to January 11th, but
we can post something.
you post it on on Instagram and tag us so we can share it with people.
So I'm gonna share. Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna share.
So if you're listening to this, hopefully you attended the auction,
and hopefully you know if you win win something or win a. It's something that I think was a hush hush. Like not too much people wanted to share it.
Oh yeah, because then more competition, right?
Yeah, and like when we went to that last auction, like people at the door, like this Fuzzy guy teaching all this stuff, like I was getting backlash, but my students like backed me up, like, bro, what you talking about? Like he's sharing this information that like nobody's sharing to Kanaka,
Yeah. When you say students, what
well, they came right. We did a 1-day live event teaching them, all the strategies.
Okay, so you're kind of like their mentor.
Yeah, and then we took them to the live day event. The next day right there, and then we signed up everybody who had money, right, could sign up to. It's open to the public. It's free.
Yeah,
and then you sign up over there, bring a cashier's check or cash, and then two of our students, bought. One of our students, like I used to work. Well, he used to work with me at Kahala Hotel. I was window cleaning, and he was the painter. But he, eventually we connected. He's like, "Oh, what? You working with Zasha?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my partner." And he, he was there. He came to our course or class, and then he bought a property for like 15 or. In fact, we interviewed him. Brian.
Oh no! Yeah. Was he the guy he does here that one time I came?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
He bought a property in Volcano, 20,000 square foot, I think, for like 15 or 16 grand.
Wow.
Cheaper than like new.
Cheaper than one brand new 2013 lifted Toyota Tacoma.
Right. But yeah, that's just another strategy that other people who are educated, right, to get properties cheaper. There's other strategies that is out there that, me and Zasha, that's what we do now. We're like real estate coaches on, what we do here in Hawaii. And we share our team, we share everything, documents, everything that we do. And like my education started with the Fortune Builders, but it wasn't cheap. And then there wasn't coaches or people that were actually, doing deals here. Right. And had the connections through like contractors and, and spoke like me and looked like me, just, and we wanted to be the first, or not the first, but, one of the many few that want to teach that when people were ready, like I was to learn.
How old were you when you bought your first property?
I was 38 in 2013.
It's never too late, people.
Yeah. I mean, never too late, right? Ray Kroc, started his business in his 50s.
Yeah. A lot of people get...
Not Ray Kroc, but the Colonel. Was that Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Oh, yeah. Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. I know. I remember seeing this post, like all these people started late in their life. Bill Gates, even Oprah.
Yeah, never too late in noise.
Ian McClellan, I think that's one of the actors. Yeah, sometimes you just find success later in life. But it's just all about building the foundation the years before.
Right.
Yeah. So can people contact you for you to help them out on this journey?
Yeah, I mean, social media is so crazy. Yeah. Like I respond like you to every message that comes in. I don't have that mid-journey or whatever where the thing just responds to people who messages me. So I'm personable. I respond to, I'm on HI Fuzz on Instagram, HI Fuzzy on TikTok. I'm on Facebook under Kolaiah Fuzzy Jardine. I don't know. I don't really do anything with Twitter or what is that?
X.
Twitter and,
And now there's Threads.
Ones, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch
Still
of
learning, but yeah, you can reach me there.
Okay.
Me and Zasha started the Hui Mastermind course. We had 2 classes. We have a third one coming up end of this month.
Okay.
If people are interested in, learning strategies that, that we do. So
I want Before we end this, I want you to give our listeners like some homework, something actionable that they can take in their lives to maybe. I don't even want to put the specifications on it. Just like some sort of homework, whether that's to buy a home, to make money, to whatever. Oh, well, can you give us some homework?
Yeah, I mean,
Just something that we can take with us today,
easy.
even something some thought that we can reflect on.
So when you wake up, I'm not sure where you live. You're driving down the street, you see that broken down house or grass growing, or just looks odd, like nobody's living there. There's ways to find out. You get the address, and then two, you get in touch with either escrow officer or myself, or you can go on truepeoplesearch.com. You find out who the owners are, and you just find out what's the situation. Why is the house like that? And you let them know, hey, I may have someone that's interested in purchasing. My friend, buys properties, fix them up, and put local families in homes. If you're interested in selling, I probably have a buyer for you.
Mm.
And just, you don't need money, right? Your time, just driving by these properties, you could get an address, or if you're scared to talk to this person, I can, kind of help, right? Use a script like what I just said. And you could make 5 to 10 grand just by introducing the owner, or, getting that contract and selling it to someone like myself, or someone who buys and fixes up houses for a fee.
Wow. So is that like commission based,
So
or
it's called
just
a wholesale deal, right? So
okay.
one is you just, you find a house or whatever that is vacant or needs work. And you can also find them on the MLS with a real estate agent.
Mm.
Sometimes properties sit on the market so long that the pressure of the people wanting to sell, they might take a lot less. In Oahu, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like once something goes on the market, it always sells, right? Really at asking. But with this market, though, if you think about it, like for me, when I started, I had credit, so I was able to purchase my education through my loan, the Malama loan and the credit. So it was really none of my own money. But when I learned from these coaches, I was able to pay for my education after I did 2 deals with none of my own money as well, because the coaches had the money and the education.
Mm-hmm.
One of the students brought one of the deals. We did a deal together, just kind of like middlemaning stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not having my own money.
So
right?
you don't have to have, like you said, money, credit, nothing.
None of that. And then not only that, like I posted a Craigslist ad that said Fuzzy buys houses cash, and then a developer called me, and that's how I learned how to do development on the Big Island.
Mm.
I grew up there. I knew about properties over there, but I really didn't know the process to go from raw land to keys in hand. And the little ad that the coaches taught me got me to where I'm at today with none of my own money. Because of the circle I was in, there's a Facebook group of all these different nationwide investors who are looking for deals to invest their money with people who have deals.
Mm.
So I was able to bring the developer, introduce what he was doing with his team, and being the middleman, put him in front of the Facebook, put that ad, or it wasn't an ad, like a post, to create like partnership. So I was in the middle. People with the money had the money. Developer had the team. Created an LLC. They put up the money. The developer took it to the finish line, and us three made money.
Wow.
And after that first house, because I'm a quick learner, I was able to learn to build a home from scratch from this brother. He was a Kanaka.
Mm-hmm.
From him, and stories, history, bro. I was like, oh my God, I'm able to build these homes at affordable prices. I found my mission after that.
I'm gonna be driving now like this.
Was it?
You're like, oh, this guy, his eyes is all on you and everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and then just another thing is just always keeping your ears open, right? And then going to events that's free, right? Like learning, like, because they got free events that come up that's real estate, geared to real estate. And that's where all the people are, right? To learn about real estate. Social media, like I was a social media whore, or I am watching all these other programs, like to learn, the strategies to keep my ass healed.
Yeah, that's good. I saw a post that says you shouldn't use social media less. You should just use social media more intentionally.
To your advantage, right? Like
leverage it. That's how I use it.
There's so much education on there, like these podcasts, right? The reason why you do these podcasts to share your Aloha, the Keep It Aloha brand, but also share other people that can be an inspiration or teach other people to learn something,
All right. I have a couple more questions, but I do want to ask about your affiliation with Bomber, because I've seen that eyewear a lot. My friends in Hilo have that. They're surfers and they love it. So what's your connection with Bomber?
Oh, I mean,
give them a shout out.
Yeah, Bomber eyewear, Bomber floating eyewear. They're like the Nike of safety eyewear. The owner's name is Tommy Bonacci, and I met him. He was my sponsor, right? When I was doing stand-up surfing, I got involved with stand-up surfing. I was their first waterman athlete. And man, it's been a journey. Like, I think 2009 was when I met them. And he has patents for the glasses that, he's got this, I don't know if we get the glasses somewhere.
Oh, there. We got it. Coming in hot.
So we got one, of course, is the Fuzz Bombs, right? One after me.
Hey, that's mine, yeah. No, I already chose that one. Yeah.
So we got the Fuzz Bomb, but in the glasses has the foam technology, but he owns patents for that technology.
Oh.
But he's 11 or 12 time.
What's that?
He's 11 or 12 time world champ.
Give me my gold chain. Sorry to interrupt. I need my gold chain. Somebody pass me my gold chain.
You look gangster.
I don't have a gold chain. Never mind. I gotta take these off. He's an 11 and 12.
11 or 12 time world jet ski racing champion.
Wow.
Right. So he's a jet ski rat, like a Waikiki rat. You know, the guys that hang out by the wall over there. And he became my good sponsor, and then shoot, once I met him, we just clicked. Like, he is the most biggest Aloha spirited guy. He sponsors a lot of events here, for like Nakamakai, Uncle Buffs, and just gives product for the events. And man, he really took care of me throughout my stand-up paddle racing and surfing career. And then I just, when I got involved with the real estate thing, we became partners. So he funds a lot of our deals that we do on the Big Island, where I buy land from out of state owners and build homes for local families.
Awesome.
So he's mahalo Bomber.
Yeah. It's good to have those connections. I call them connections.
Yeah, connections.
Yeah. I love that. All right, what is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Wish what they
maybe something people misunderstand about you, you think?
Yeah, maybe they misunderstand, social media, like why I'm posting, to be honest with everyone, like being open of where I'm at, or where I went and where I'm at now, right? Before I knew about social media, growing up, you just, I guess, to me, just kind of sticking in your own lane. And man, I don't know, it's just like this social media thing just opened up so much more for me to share that it can be done, right? Like the inspiration thing. Because 2023 was huge for me, because yourself and other people approached me, would you be interested in speaking, at our event? And from the first one that I did was crazy, because I was able to open up and tell the truth about, being a Kanaka and going down the route of drugs and alcohol, going to jail, coming out, and becoming a successful businessman here in Hawaii. And yeah, that's kind of what I want people to know. And then kind of like the go-to guy for real estate here in Hawaii, being that connection, because there's other people that's here that doesn't look like me, speak like me, that's Kanaka, right?
Yeah.
I want to be that known person and help families, educate themselves, whether, helping them financially, like get themselves from like negative to, okay, here's what you got to do to get yourself to positive. And then when you get to positive, go pay for education to get you to this level, and then the next level, and then the next level.
Well, from one Kanaka named Kamaka to another Kanaka, mahalo for what you do.
Mahalo, Kamaka.
Before we end the podcast, I got to know, what is your life hack?
My life hack is this: like, you are the way you are because of the way you think, right? So if you keep thinking negative things or think negative stuff always, or surrounding yourself with negative people, you're going to get just that. So if you surround yourself with positive thoughts, positive people that want to help you succeed, it's going to happen. And you don't need money, right, to be happy. Money is just material.
It's a tool.
Right? It's a tool.
Yeah.
But if you can learn how to use that tool to take care of your family, you're set.
Yeah. The money isn't the happiness. It's the act of taking care of your family. That's the happiness. It's what you can do with the money that makes it happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an awesome life hack. So I got my last fast 5 questions. It's just rapid fire answers, okay? What is your favorite childhood snack?
Snack would be M&M's.
M&M's. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite travel destination?
Oh, Costa Rica.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Costa Rica.
You went there for surf?
Surfing, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Boca Barranca is one of the longest lefts in the world.
Oh, super cool. Favorite book?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah. By Hilo's own Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes, sir.
Favorite movie?
North Shore.
Oh, nice. That's a classic one. Favorite place to find peace?
The ocean.
The ocean.
Okay,
I knew you were gonna ask. I should have changed it, because you said that earlier. What about favorite way to decompress? That's not the ocean.
The Mauna.
The Mauna. Okay, so if it's not Makai, it's Mauka. Yeah. Awesome. You just one nature boy, one water boy, and one mountain boy.
Yeah, I can survive. Right to go catch a pig, cow, or the wild cows over there, deer.
Yeah.
And then go fish. Right, survive.
Awesome. Well, that's all we got for you today. Mahalo so much for sharing your story and answering my questions and kicking off 2024 on a good note. I wish everybody so much success this year. Hopefully someone listening to this buys a house this year, maybe, or some sort of property after this. If you do, DM us, let us know, because I would love to know. Do you have anything you want to share before we wrap up? If not, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Kolaiah, Fuzzy Jardine, Hi Fuzz on Instagram, Hi Fuzzy on TikTok. And then if you're looking for education, right, I'm also a coach. You can find us at huimastermind.com. We're going to have a webinar here soon, free webinar, talking about our strategies that we use. The tax one we just talked about. The website is huimastermind / Oh, my goodness.
Something.
Wait. Oh, secret strategy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the website is called huimastermind.com / secret strategy. And you can join us for free to learn the different strategies that people use, or myself and Zasha Smith uses here in Hawaii.
Okay. Right on. Go check them out, everybody, and give Balmer some love as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say mahalo, Fuzzy, for joining us on the Keep It Low podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka. Remember to always keep it aloha.
Keep it aloha. Let's go.